The Hook, the twin suns of Allura Prime were setting, painting the city sky with red and gold light. The tall glass towers glowed like fire, and the streets below were filled with creatures from 100 different worlds. Some had blue skin that shimmered in the light, some had long tails that swished as they walked, and some floated on small hovering pods instead of legs. This was the center of trade in the outer colonies, a place where anyone could find work, if they had the right skills. But for Kara, it was different. She walked slowly down the main street, holding a small datapad in her hand. Her boots were worn, her coat was old, and her eyes were tired. On the screen, another message flashed in red letters. Application rejected. It was the 10th rejection that week. Kara stopped in front of a food stall. The smell of fried kelp and roasted spices filled the air. Her stomach growled, but she kept walking. She couldn't waste credits. Every coin she had was for rent, for her daughter's medicine, and for whatever food she could bring home. In the distance, she saw a tall alien with long silver arms posting job notices on a glowing board. Kara hurried over. Maybe this time she would be lucky. She tapped the screen, found a listing for dock worker, Cargo Bay 7, sent her details. A few seconds later, her com beeped. She opened the message. We regret to inform you. Rest didn't matter. She already knew what it said. Kara turned away, feeling the same heavy weight in her chest. No alien wanted to hire a human, especially not a human woman raising a child alone. They always had an excuse. Not enough experience, not the right species. The company policy does not allow human workers. It wasn't always like this. Years ago, humans had worked alongside aliens across the colonies, but something had changed. Somewhere, somehow, the trust had broken. Now, the alien employers looked at humans as trouble, unpredictable, emotional, dangerous. Kara walked through the busy streets, her face hidden beneath her hood. The voices around her blended into a low hum, languages she didn't understand. Laughter from alien traders, the hiss of docking clamps in the nearby spaceport. She passed a shop window and saw her reflection. She almost didn't recognize herself. Her once bright eyes were dull. Her cheeks were thin. She thought of her daughter, Lonnie, only 6 years old, sleeping in their tiny room above a noisy repair shop. Lonnie had been coughing for weeks, and the medicine was expensive. Kara needed a job, any job. But every day, the same answer came. No. The rain started to fall, thin silver drops that glistened under the neon lights. Kara pulled her hood tighter. She was about to head home when she heard shouting. It came from a side street near the cargo docks. Curious, she stepped closer, peering into the shadows. 2 alien merchants were arguing with a mana-human man. He was tall, with broad shoulders and a short black coat. His voice was calm, but there was steel in it. I told you, the man said. The cargo was delivered on time. You got your shipment. Stop trying to cheat me. The aliens hissed in anger, their 4 eyes narrowing. One of them spat on the ground. Humans are all the same. Liars, thieves. We should never have done business with you. The man's jaw tightened. Say that again, he said quietly. For a moment, Kara thought the aliens might attack him. But then they turned away, muttering in their own language, and disappeared into the rain. The man stood there, breathing hard, then shook his head and began to walk toward the docking bays. Kara stepped back, hiding in the shadows. Something about him felt different. He didn't look afraid. He didn't look defeated. He looked like someone who made his own rules. She wondered who he was. The rain fell harder now, drumming against the metal streets. Kara turned to leave, but the man's voice stopped her. You've been watching me for a while, he said. Kara froze. Slowly, she looked over her shoulder. He was standing there, only a few steps away, his sharp eyes studying her. "I wasn't," she began. He smiled slightly. "Don't worry. I'm not dangerous." Kara wasn't sure if she believed him. "You looking for work?" He asked. The question hit her like a shock. "Why?" she said carefully. "Because," he said, "I might have something. But it's not easy, and it's not safe." She hesitated. Every alien she'd met had turned her away. And here was a human stranger offering something without even knowing her name. "What's the job?" she asked. The man's smile faded, delivering a package. "Off-world, to someone who won't like seeing you." Kara's heart beat faster. Dangerous work, a stranger's trust, and maybe, just maybe, a chance to change everything. She didn't know yet that this meeting would be the start of something bigger than she could imagine. Daily struggle. Kara didn't sleep much that night. The sound of rain on the metal roof above her tiny room kept her awake. The hum of the repair shop downstairs never stopped. Old machines coughed and hissed as the owner worked through the night. She lay on a thin mattress in the corner, watching the dim light from the street signs flicker through the cracked window. Beside her, Lonnie was curled up under a blanket, breathing softly. Every now and then she coughed a dry, weak sound that made Kara's heart twist. Kara reached over and gently brushed a strand of hair from her daughter's face. Lonnie didn't stir. Kara turned her eyes to the ceiling. She thought about the man she had met, the human in the black coat. She didn't know his name. She didn't know if he was trustworthy. But the way he had stood up to those aliens. He wasn't like the others. Still, she knew better than to trust strangers easily. In the colonies, a single mistake could cost you everything. When the first light of the twin suns touched the window, Kara got up quietly and dressed in her worn coat. She slipped out into the morning air, careful not to wake Lonnie. She had another day of searching ahead. The job hunt continues. The streets of Allura Prime were already busy. Vendors shouted in alien tongues, advertising everything from starfruit to hover bikes. Cargo ships rumbled overhead as they came in to dock. A group of alien guards marched past, their armor shining in the sun. Kara kept her hood up and her eyes down. Her first stop was a small cafe run by a short, formed alien named Dravik. She had applied there twice before. Maybe they had changed their mind. She stepped inside, the warm smell of roasted grains filling her nose. Dravik looked up from behind the counter. "Kara," he said slowly, "I told you before, the customers, they don't like humans. I can't risk losing them." Kara's throat felt tight. "I can work in the kitchen. No one will even see me." He shook his head. "It's not about seeing, it's about knowing." "I'm sorry." She didn't argue. She simply turned and left, her stomach aching not from hunger, but from the same old shame. Old friends, cold streets by midday, the suns were high, and the city heat pressed down like a heavy blanket. Kara found herself near the old marketplace, where she used to meet friends when she first arrived on Allura Prime. She spotted a familiar face, Maya, another human woman she'd once worked with at a cargo bay before the layoffs. "Maya," Kara called softly. Maya turned. Her smile faded when she saw Kara. "Kara, you shouldn't be here. People talk. I'm looking for work," Kara said. Maya glanced around nervously. "Don't let anyone hear you asking me that. They'll think I'm helping you, and then I'll lose my job too." Kara wanted to say more, but Maya had already walked away, disappearing into the crowd. The weight of every step. By evening, Kara had visited 6 more places. A shipping office, a laundry service, even a small maintenance crew that cleaned the city's lower tunnels. Each time, the answer was the same. No humans, no exceptions. Her feet ached as she walked back through the narrow alleys toward the repair shop. The lights from the upper towers glowed high above, so far away it felt like they belonged to another world. She stopped at a food vendor and bought the cheapest meal she could, to small bread rolls wrapped in thin paper. She would give one to Lonnie and eat the other herself. When she finally reached the metal stairs leading to her room, she heard voices. Unwanted visitors, 2 alien men stood outside her door. One had a long snout and dark, beady eyes. The other was tall and thin, his skin pale blue. They were from the building's rent office. "You are late with payment again," the tall one said coldly. "I told you," Kara said. "I just need a few more days." "I'm no more time," the short one interrupted. "If you cannot pay by tomorrow night, you and your child will leave." Kara's hands tightened around the paper bag with the bread. "I'll get the credits." Left without another word, she stood there for a moment, breathing hard, then unlocked the door. Inside, Lonnie was sitting on the bed, rubbing her eyes. "Mama?" she said, in a sleepy voice. Kara forced a smile and handed her the bread. "Eat, baby." A memory she can't escape that night. After Lonnie was asleep again, Kara sat by the window and stared at the stars. Somewhere out there, beyond the trade routes and the alien homeworlds, was Earth's the place she had left behind. She remembered the last time she had flown a ship. She remembered the flashing lights, the alarm sirens, the voices shouting over the come. She remembered the enemy ships closing in. She had been good at it, better than most. But after the war, there had been no place for her skills, no place for humans at all. The decision the next morning, Kara woke early. She didn't know why, but her mind kept going back to the man in the black coat. The one who had asked if she was looking for work. It was dangerous. He had warned her, but danger was starting to feel less frightening than hunger. She made up her mind today. She would find him. The unexpected meeting, the morning air on Valora Prime, was cool and sharp. The twin suns had just risen, casting long golden shadows between the steel towers. Kara walked quickly through the streets, her hood pulled low, scanning every face she passed. She didn't even know the man's name, but she remembered his coat, his voice, and the way he had looked at her without the same alien distrust she saw everywhere else. She started at the docking bays. The air here smelled of fuel and metal. Cargo haulers rumbled in and out. Alien workers shouted orders, and robots rolled along the floor carrying crates. Kara stopped by a security terminal and studied the list of ships. Most were alien freighters, their names written in strange glowing symbols. She looked for anything that sounded human. Nothing. She moved on, weaving between crates and workers. Every now and then, she caught herself glancing over her shoulder, wondering if she looked suspicious. Security didn't like people hanging around without a reason. Hours passed. Kara's legs ached, but she didn't give up. She searched the smaller docks, the maintenance hangars, even the back alleys where smugglers and traders made secret deals. Still nothing. A flicker of hope just when she thought she had wasted the entire day. She spotted a black coat in the crowd. Her heart skipped. It was the same cut, the same dark color. The man was talking to a short, broad alien with skin like cracked stone. Kara pushed closer, trying to hear. 3 crates, the man was saying. That was the deal. You try to charge me for 4, and I walk. The stone-skinned alien growled low in his throat. Humans always complain. The man didn't flinch, and aliens always think they can cheat us. So, are you going to honor the deal, or should I take my credits somewhere else? There was a long pause. Then the alien muttered something in his own language and waved to a loader droid. The droid brought over 3 heavy crates and set them at the man's feet. Pleasure doing business. The man said with a half smile. The alien spat on the ground and walked away. First words, Kira waited until the man turned to leave, then stepped into his path. I've been looking for you. He stopped, his eyes narrowing slightly. Have you now? I'm Kara, she said quickly. You asked yesterday if I was looking for work. Recognition flickered in his eyes. Right. The woman in the rain. Yes, Kara said. I want to know about the job. He studied her for a moment, as if weighing something in his mind. I didn't expect you to come find me. I need work, Kara said simply. And you said you might have something. He tilted his head. You understand it's dangerous. Kara nodded. It doesn't pay much, he warned. And if things go wrong, you could end up dead. I'll take it, Kara said, without hesitation. A faint smile tugged at the corner of his mouth. All right. My name's Rylan. Captain Rylan, if you care about titles. My ship's at Dock 14. The ship, they, walked together through the maze of docking bays until they reached a small freighter. It wasn't much to look at. Its hull was scratched and dented. The paint faded, and one of the landing struts had a fresh patch welded on. But Kara noticed the weapons mounted under the wings, and the smooth hum of the engines even while docked. Welcome to the Orion's Edge, Rylan said. Inside the ship was cleaner than she expected. The narrow corridors smelled faintly of oil and metal polish. Rylan led her to the cockpit, where two worn pilot chairs faced a wide window showing the busy docks outside. The job, details, Rylan dropped into the captain's chair. Simple job, a delivery. One small package to a buyer on the asteroid station Corvus 9. Why is it dangerous? Kara asked. Rylan leaned back. Because the buyer doesn't like humans. And the people who sold me the package don't. Like me. Also, the route takes us through raider territory. Kara kept her voice steady. And you still want me to go? I need someone who can keep their head when things go wrong, Rylan said. And I think you might be that person. Kara hesitated. Why? 'Cause you didn't run away yesterday, he said simply. You watched, you listened. Most people avoid trouble. You didn't. Testing trust before she could respond. A voice crackled over the comm. Captain, loading complete. Rylan stood. Come on. If you're in, we leave in 30 minutes. If you're not, walk away now. Kara thought of the rent due tomorrow, of Lonnie's cough, of the aliens who turned her away again and again. I'm in, she said, the departure ass. The Orion's Edge lifted from the dock. Kara felt a strange mix of fear and excitement. The city fell away beneath them, its lights fading into the black of space. Stars stretched out in every direction. She had not been off-world in years. Rylan piloted with easy confidence, his hands steady on the controls. Kara sat beside him, watching the stars drift by. For a moment, she almost forgot the weight of her problems. But deep down, she knew this job was going to be more than a simple delivery. Much more. The Tesla Orion's Edge moved smoothly through the dark, endless sea of stars. From the cockpit, Kara watched distant suns glow like tiny lanterns. She had almost forgotten the weightless calm of space travel. It had been years since she last left a planet. Rylan sat in the pilot's chair, one hand resting lightly on the controls, the other holding a mug of something that smelled sharp and bitter. His movements were relaxed, but Kara noticed his eyes never stopped scanning the ship's displays. How far to Corvus 9? She asked. 2 jumps, he said. We'll take the main trade lane for the first leg, then cut across the outer belt. That's the risky part. Kara leaned forward. Raiders? Rylan nodded. And worse. Pirates, scavenger crews, smugglers who don't like witnesses. It's why I don't usually take passengers. He glanced at her. Consider this your test. If you panic, you're done. Kara didn't reply. She simply turned her gaze back to the stars. An uneasy silence sours past in quiet. The ship hummed steadily, the deep vibration of its engines, a steady heartbeat beneath their feet. Kara explored. A little metal corridors, small sleeping bunks, a galley with enough food for a few days. Everything was simple, but kept in the cargo hold. She found the package. It was smaller than she expected, a black metal case, no bigger than her forearm. No markings, no locks, just smooth, dark metal. She stared at it for a long time, wondering what could be inside. When she returned to the cockpit, Rylan was frowning at the navigation screen. "We've got company," he said, "trouble on the horizon," through the forward window. Kara saw them, 3 small ships, arrow-shaped, moving fast. Their hulls were black with red streaks, like dried blood. She recognized the type instantly. Light. Raider craft, built for speed and attack runs. "They've seen us," Rylan said. His voice was calm, but his hands moved quickly now. "Hold on." The raiders closed in, forming a triangle around the Orion's edge. A voice crackled over the... "Come," deep and cold. "Freighter, cut engines. Transfer all cargo to our hold." No resistance. Rylan smirked. "I don't like giving gifts to strangers." He pushed the throttle forward. The ship surged ahead, engines roaring. The chase laser fire lit up the darkness, streaking past the windows. The Orion's edge rolled hard to the right, dodging 2 shots but taking a glancing hit on the port side. Warning lights flashed red across the control panel. "Shields at 70. Rylan called out. "Get to the rear turret now." Kara hesitated. "Todd, no time." He snapped. She ran, boots pounding the metal floor. She found the turret bay and slid into the gunner's chair. The targeting display lit up in front of her. The raider ships danced across the screen like angry wasps. Her hands moved almost on instinct. She locked onto the nearest target and fired. A bright beam lanced out, striking the raider's wing. The ship spun away, venting smoke. Kara's eyes widened. It felt natural. Too natural. Hidden skills. She fired again, this time hitting the second raider square in the nose. It exploded in a burst of white light. The recoil shook the turret, but she barely noticed. Her focus was absolute, her breathing steady by the time Rylan's voice came over the comm. "That's enough. They're breaking off the third." Raider was already fleeing into the shadows. Kara sat back, her hands still trembling. When she returned to the cockpit, Rylan was staring at her. "You've done this before," he said. Kara looked away. "Maybe." "That wasn't luck," Rylan pressed. "You handled that turret like a trained gunner." "Where'd you learn that?" Kara didn't answer. She slipped into the co-pilots. C-10 fixed her eyes on the stars ahead. The price of silence. They flew in silence for a long time after that. The damage alarms were quiet now. The ship stable again. Rylan didn't ask more questions, but Kara could feel his curiosity in the way he kept glancing at her. Finally, he said, "If you want to work with me, you don't have to tell me everything. But I need to know if you're running from something that could get us both killed." Kara's jaw tightened. "I'm not running from anything that concerns you." Rylan raised an eyebrow, but let it drop. "Fair enough. Just be ready. Out here, you never know what's waiting around the next jump." Through the outer belt, the first jump brought them to the edge of the outer belt, a wide stretch of space filled with drifting rocks, shattered moons, and the ruins of old mining stations. Navigation here was dangerous. One wrong move could tear a ship apart. Kara stayed in the co-pilot seat, watching as Rylan steered the Orion's edge through narrow gaps between massive spinning boulders. The ship's hull groaned with the strain. In the distance, she thought she saw a shadow moving between the rocks. Something large. But when she looked again, it was gone. The final warning as they neared the halfway mark. Rylan glanced at her. "You handled yourself well back there." "That's your test passed." Kara frowned. "That was the test. Every job I offer is dangerous. If you can't survive the first one, There's no point in the rest. She wanted to ask what the rest meant, but before she could, the cum crackled again, this time with a voice she didn't recognize. Cold and metallic. Freighter Orion's Edge. This is your only warning. Turn over the package or face destruction. Ryland's eyes narrowed. Looks like word got out. Kara felt a chill run through her. Whoever wanted that package, they weren't going to stop. The danger of the voice over the cum was like ice in the air, cold, calm, certain. Freighter Orion's Edge. Surrender the package immediately. You will not get another warning. Kara and Ryland exchanged a quick glance. Outside the asteroid, belts stretched in every direction, a twisting maze of spinning rocks and shadows. Somewhere in that darkness, their enemy was waiting. Who is it? Kara asked quietly. Ryland tapped a control, and the scanners lit up. 3 red blips appeared on the screen, closing fast. Not raiders this time, he said. Too disciplined. Too well-armed. Kara's stomach tightened. Bounty hunters? Maybe, Ryland said, eyes narrowing. Or worse. The first strike-hay flash of light streaked past the cockpit. The ship shook violently as an energy bolt hit the rear shields. Warning sirens wailed. They're not waiting for an answer, Ryland said, gripping the controls. Hold on. He banked the Orion's Edge sharply to the left, weaving between 2 massive asteroids. The hunters followed, their ships sleek and deadly engines, glowing blue. Kara could feel the tension in the air. This wasn't like the earlier raider fight. These ships moved with precision. Every shot they fired came close. Too close, turret duty. Again, Ryland's voice was tight. Get to the turret. We can't outrun them without a fight. Kara ran. Her boots pounded the deck as she slid into the gunner's seat. Her hands flew over the controls, bringing the targeting systems online. The first hunter ship swooped in from above. She locked on and fired a burst. The shot grazed the enemy's wing, sending it spinning, but it recovered quickly. These pilots were skilled. The second ship came at them head-on, cannons blazing. Kara waited until the last second, then fired straight into its cockpit. The explosion lit up the asteroid field like a new sun. Ryland's maneuver in the cockpit. Ryland threw the Orion's Edge into a sudden roll, skimming along the surface of a huge spinning rock. One wrong move, and they'd smash into it. But the tight turn forced the remaining hunter ships to split up. They're trying to box us in. Kara shouted over the cum. I know, Ryland replied. Keep one of them busy, I'll take the other. The shadow ship Kara tracked her target, firing in short, controlled bursts. The hunter dodged most of them, but each time it turned, she read its movement a little better. She was in the zone, now focused, calm, precise. But then, the scanners beeped again. A fourth ship appeared on the edge of the display, larger, darker, and moving faster than the rest. Its design was unlike anything she'd seen before. The hull looked almost alive, shifting slightly in the light. Ryland, Kara said slowly, we've got another problem. He glanced at the screen. Damn, that's not a hunter. A Stalker-class interceptor. What's that mean? It means, he said grimly, it's here for you, not me. The package connection. Kara froze. Me? Why? Because Ryland said whoever wants this package probably knows. You're with me. And they don't send a stalker unless they expect resistance. The stalker ship fired a single shot, not at the Orion's Edge, but at a nearby asteroid. The rocks shattered into 1,000 pieces, the debris scattering across their path. Ryland swerved hard to avoid the fragments. Forced into the open, the maneuver drove them out of the asteroid cover and into a clearer stretch of space. It was exactly what the enemy wanted. Now they had open lines of fire. A bright beam shot past Kara's turret. She fired back, landing a hit that knocked one of the smaller hunters out of the fight. But the stalker kept coming, its weapons locked. "On them, Rylan, we can't keep this up," she said. "I know," he replied. "We need a distraction. Can you give me one?" Kara didn't ask what he meant. She switched her turret to rapid-fire mode and unleashed a storm of shots. Forcing the stalker to weave and slow down, the hidden skill in the middle of the chaos. A memory flashed in Kara's mind, sitting in a military simulator years ago, learning to predict enemy maneuvers before they made them. She remembered her instructor's voice. "Don't chase the ship. Chase where it's going to be." She lined up her next shot, not where the stalker was, but where it would be in 3 seconds. She fired. The beam struck the stalker's right engine. The ship spun wildly, venting smoke before disappearing into the asteroid field. The remaining hunter took one last shot at them, then fled. The quiet after the storm, the silence that followed, was almost louder than the battle. Kara sat back in the turret, her heart pounding. Slowly, she made her way back to the cockpit. Rylan glanced at her as she entered. "You're full of surprises, Kara." She shrugged, but there was a flicker of something in her eyes, pride, maybe, or relief. "Guess I got lucky." "That wasn't luck," Rylan said. "That was training. Real training, and I'm guessing it's the kind most humans don't talk about openly." Kara didn't respond. A dangerous realization. Rylan set the course back toward the asteroid cover, keeping them moving but out of scanner range. "If they sent a stalker," he said, "this package is worth a lot more than I thought, and they're not going to stop." Kara looked out at the stars. "Then we'd better make sure we get it to Corvus 9 before they find us again," Rylan gave a short laugh. "I like your style." But deep inside, Kara knew this wasn't just about a delivery anymore. Whatever was in that package, it was dangerous. And now, the hunters knew she was part of it. The reveal that Orion's Edge floated in the quiet shadow of a massive asteroid, hidden from open scanners. The hum of the engines was low, steady. Like the ship was holding its breath, Kara sat in the co-pilot's chair, staring out at the endless black. Her hands rested on her knees, but they were tense. Ready? She wasn't thinking about the stars. She was thinking about the fight, about the way she had handled that turret, about the fourth ship, the stalker. Rylan was silent as he adjusted a few controls. The cockpit lights cast shadows across his face, making his expression unreadable. Finally, he broke the silence. "You want to tell me what that was back there?" Kara glanced at him. What was?" "That wasn't just good shooting," Rylan said. "That was controlled, trained, military shooting. And the way you moved, you weren't guessing. You knew exactly how to track those ships." Kara looked back at the stars. "I've had experience." "Experience?" Rylan leaned back in his seat. "That's a word people use when they don't want to tell the truth." Pushing for answers, Kara's jaw tightened. "The truth won't help you, Captain." Rylan's voice was calm but firm. "It might help me decide if keeping you on this ship is going to get me killed." She didn't reply. "You ever hear of the Outer Rim Human Defense Fleet?" Rylan asked suddenly. Kara's fingers curled slightly. "Maybe. I heard they were ghosts," Rylan went on. "Special units. Off the books. They only showed up when things were already too far gone for anyone else to fix. And when the job was done, they disappeared again." Kara said nothing. But her silence was louder than words. The mask slips. Rylan turned in his seat to face her. "You were one of them, weren't you?" Kara's eyes stayed on the stars. "Once." Rylan let out a slow breath. "And what happened?" "We won," Kara said simply. "But the cost was more than we could pay. The fleet was dissolved. The survivors scattered, and you?" Rylan asked. "I didn't want to be a soldier anymore," she said. "I wanted to be a mother. I thought I could disappear, live. Quietly, and no one would care. She gave a bitter smile. Turns out disappearing is harder than it sounds. The package Link Krillin glanced toward the cargo hold. So, whoever those hunters were, they didn't just want the package. They wanted you? Kara hesitated. The package and I are connected. How? She shook her head. If I told you, you'd either throw me out the airlock or turn the ship around and dump the cargo. That bad? Rylan asked. Yes, Kara said. That bad. Rylan studied her for a long moment, then shrugged. Well, good news is, I'm not the type to walk away from a job halfway through. We're still going to Corvus 9. Kara turned to look at him. You don't even know what you're carrying? I know enough, he said. And I trust my gut. My gut says you're trouble, but the kind that might be worth it. A fragile trust for a moment. There was only the quiet hum of the ship. Then Rylan stood. Get some rest. You've got one jump left, and it's not going to be peaceful. Kara stayed in the chair, watching him leave. She didn't know why, but something about the way he had said worth it stuck in her mind. In her old life, trust had been a weapon and a weakness. On the battlefield, you trusted the soldier next to you to keep you alive. Off the battlefield, trust could get you killed. Now, she wasn't sure which this was. Memories in the dark when she was alone. Kara leaned back and closed her eyes. Images flashed behind them. A different ship, sleeker, faster, painted with the blue insignia of the Human Defense Fleet. Her crew's faces, the smell of smoke and ozone after a battle. The sound of her commander's voice ordering the final jump. The jump that left half the fleet behind. She had sworn she would never go back to that life. But sitting here, in the dim light of the Orion's edge, she could feel the pull again. The interruption, her thoughts were cut short by the come crackling to life. It wasn't Rylan's voice. Human vessel Orion's edge. Your location is known. Your time is limited. Surrender Caravallan or be destroyed. Kara's blood ran cold. They had used her full name. She rose from the chair and headed to the cargo hold. The black metal case sat there, silent, almost innocent. She reached out and touched it, her fingers tracing the smooth surface. She whispered to herself, how did they find me? A silent decision Rylan appeared in the doorway. So they do know you. Kara turned slowly. I told you, I'm connected to the package. You're going to have to tell me how before we reach Corvus 9, Rylan said. She looked at him for a long time, then nodded. But not yet. If you hear the truth now, you might decide to leave me behind. And if you do that, and if I do that, Rylan asked, they'll kill you before you even reach the station. Setting the stage for the endgame, Rylan smirked. Guess I'm keeping you around then. But behind his easy tone, Kara could see the calculation in his eyes. He was weighing her worth, the danger, and whatever his own endgame was. The ship's engines began to rise in pitch as Rylan returned to the cockpit. Kara followed, feeling the vibration through the floor as they prepared for their final jump. She didn't know what would be waiting for them at Corvus 9, allies, enemies, or something far worse. But she knew one thing for certain. The time for hiding her past was almost over. The change, the Orion's edge dropped out of jump space with a sharp jolt. Stars steadied outside the cockpit window, and ahead loomed Corvus 9. It wasn't a planet, but a massive asteroid turned into a space station. Metal towers rose from its surface like jagged teeth, glowing with lights. Dozens of ships circled above it, coming and going like insects around a hive. Kara had been here once, long ago. She remembered the smell of the air inside, dry, metallic, and faintly sour. She remembered the markets, the shadowed alleys, and the kind of people who made deals here. Corvus 9 wasn't the sort of place where laws mattered much, As they approached, Rylon opened the cum channel. "This is the freighter Orion's Edge, here for a delivery." A rough voice answered, "Dock, at Bay 12. Alone," Rylon muttered. Under his breath, never a good sign, arrival Bay 12 was quiet. Too quiet. No dock workers, no loaders. Just the echo of their footsteps as they stepped off the ship. Kara carried the black case in her hands. It felt heavier than it should. From the shadows, a group of aliens emerged. Their leader was tall, with 4 gleaming eyes and armor made of some dark, scale-like metal. Behind him, several armed guards fanned out, blocking the exits. "You brought it," the leader said, his voice a low growl. His gaze moved from the case to Kara's face. "And you brought her." Rylon stepped forward. "You get the package, we get our payment." That was the deal. The alien leader laughed. "The deal has changed. The package and the human both stay here." The reveal of the package, Kara's grip tightened on the case. "Do you even know what's inside this?" she asked. The alien's smile widened. "Of course, it's the coordinates. To the last surviving human defense outpost. Once I have it, I will make sure your kind is erased forever." Rylon shot Kara a sharp look. Coordinates. She took a slow breath. "The fleet I served with didn't all die. Some made it to a hidden base. This case is the key to finding it. If the wrong people get it, then humans have no hope left." Rylon finished for her. The choicely alien leader stepped closer. "Give it to me, and maybe I let you live." Kara's mind raced. She could hand it over and walk away, but she knew what that would mean. No more hope for her people. No more future for Lonnie. She looked at Rylon. His eyes met hers. He gave the smallest nod, a silent question. "Are we doing this?" Kara nodded back. The fight happened fast. Rylon moved first, pulling a concealed blaster from inside his coat. He dropped 2 guards before they could raise their weapons. Kara swung the case into the alien leader's chest, knocking him back. The bay exploded into chaos. Blaster fire lit up the shadows, sparks rained from the walls, and the air filled with the sharp smell of ozone. Kara dove behind a crate, flipping open the case with one hand. Inside was a small silver cube, glowing faintly blue. She pressed a hidden switch on its side, and a bright shield of light sprang up between them and the enemy. "What is that?" Rylon shouted over the noise. "Fleet tech," Kara said. "Portable. Barrier won't hold long." Turning the tide, the alien leader roared in anger. "Kill them. Break that shield." The guards poured fire into the barrier, the light flickering under the assault. Kara knew it wouldn't last more than a minute. "Cover me," she yelled. She slid out from behind the shield and charged forward, moving faster than Rylon had ever seen. Her hands grabbed a fallen guard's rifle, and she fired with deadly precision. One by one, the attackers fell back, their numbers thinning. Rylon joined her, taking down the last 2 guards with quick, clean shots. The last stand only, the alien leader remained. His eyes burned with rage. "You can't stop this," he hissed. "Your kind will always be the weakest." Kara stepped closer, her voice steady. "Maybe, but we don't give up. That's why you fear us." With a single motion, she struck him across the face with the rifle's stock, sending him sprawling. His armor clattered against the floor. The change of the sound of boots echoed through the bay. More figures appeared, but these weren't enemies. They were other dock workers, traders, and even a few alien civilians who had seen the fight from a distance. One of them, a small green-skinned mechanic, stepped forward. You protected this place. You didn't have to, but you did." Kara nodded, breathing hard. "I protect what matters. Doesn't matter if it's human or alien." The mechanic looked at the others. Slowly, they nodded. For the first time since she'd left Earth. Kara felt the weight of alien eyes on her without the shadow of judgment. A new reputation word spread quickly. By the time they left Corvus 9, stories were already circulating about the human woman who fought off a squad of armed killers. About how she had stood her ground to protect more than just her own kind. In the cockpit, Rylan glanced at her. "Well, you're famous now, and not just among humans." Kara smiled faintly. "Fame's not what I need." "No," Rylan said, "but maybe it's what humanity needs." The journey continues as the Orion's Edge lifted away from Corvus 9. Kara looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there was the hidden fleet, waiting. Someday, she'd have to lead someone to it. For now, she had other work to do. And maybe, just maybe, more minds to change. She turned to Rylan. "So, where to next, Captain?" Rylan grinned. "Wherever the trouble is." Kara laughed softly. "Figures?" The ship's engines roared, and they shot forward in two. The darkness to humans in a galaxy that thought it had already judged them, ready to prove everyone wrong. Shadows on the horizon, the Orion's Edge cruised through deep space, far from any busy trade lanes. The stars outside were quiet, steady points of light, but Kara knew quiet didn't always mean safe. She sat in the co-pilot's chair, watching the navigation display as Rylan adjusted their course. Corvus 9 was now hours behind them, and the hum of the engines was the only sound in the cockpit. For the first time in days, there were no alarms, no weapons fire, no hunters on there. Tail still, Kara's thoughts weren't calm. Ripples of the past, thinking about the fleet. Rylan asked, glancing at her dot. Kara didn't answer right away. "Yes and no. I'm thinking about the message Corvus 9 just sent to the galaxy." Rylan gave a small smile. "That humans aren't useless. That we're dangerous when pushed," Kara said. Her voice was quiet, almost distant. "Word spreads. Enemies, pay attention. If they know the fleet survived, more will come looking." Rylan leaned back. "Then it's a good thing we're not easy to find." Kara almost smiled at that. Almost a strange transmission, the comm crackled suddenly, breaking the moment. "This is the freighter Aurora's Wake, requesting assistance. Coordinates attached. Repeat urgent request for assistance." Rylan frowned. "That's off the main lanes. Could be a trap. Could be someone in trouble," Kara said. "Or someone trying to lure us into trouble," Rylan countered. Kara studied the data. The signal was coming from the edge of an uncharted nebula. A swirling mass of red and gold gases that blocked most scanner readings. She looked at him. "If we ignore it and they die out there," Rylan sighed. "You're going to say, it's on us." "It is," Kara said simply. Into the nebula minutes later, the Orion's Edge slipped into the nebula. The colors outside shifted and danced, bright enough to cast strange patterns on the cockpit walls. Visibility dropped to almost nothing. The ship's sensors filled with static. "This place is a nightmare," Rylan muttered, adjusting the controls. "No readings, no comm range. If something's waiting for us, we won't see it until it's right on top of us." Kara's eyes stayed on the viewport. "Then we'd better be ready." The wreck, the Aurora's Wake, appeared out of the mist like a ghost. Its hull was scorched, one engine dead, the other flickering weakly. No movement on the exterior. They docked cautiously, weapons ready. Inside, the corridors were dim and silent. Panels sparked here and there, and the air smelled of burned metal. "Hello," Kara called out. Her voice echoed through the empty halls. No answer. The survivor, they found him in the cargo bay, a human man in a torn flight suit, sitting against the wall with a bleeding wound in his side. "Don't take the case," he whispered when he saw them. His eyes were wide with fear. Kara crouched beside him. "What case?" He glanced toward a sealed container in the corner of the bay. It's the same. They're looking for yours. Before she could ask more, his eyes closed and his breathing slowed. He was alive but unconscious, the pattern back aboard the Orion's Edge. Rylan and Kara stared at the sealed container they had brought over from the wreck. Another one, Rylan said. Same size, same markings, different origin. Kara's mind raced. If there's more than one, then someone is moving them across the galaxy. And if the hunters wanted ours, they'll want this one too, Rylan finished. Kara looked at him. And if they know the Aurora's wake had it, they might already be coming here. The Shadow Fleet has, if on cue, the proximity alarm. Blared 3 ships appeared on the edge of the nebula, their hulls dark and jagged. They weren't hunters, raiders, or stalkers. These ships were bigger, heavier, built for war. Kara felt a chill. Those aren't random enemies. Tuh. Shadow Fleet. Rylan's eyes narrowed. Which means? They don't work for credits. They work for destruction. And if they're here, this isn't about money anymore. It's about wiping out what's left of us. No running this time, the ships closed in. Rylan's hands hovered over the controls. We could still run. Kara shook her head. No. If we run, they'll track us, and they'll find the fleet's base. We stop them here. Rylan gave a short laugh. You really don't like the easy way out, do you? Easy ways get. People killed, Kara said. Preparing for the fight, they armed the ship's weapons, rerouted power to the shields, and strapped in. The enemy fleet spread out, cutting off every escape path. Kara took the turret controls, her eyes locked on the targeting display. You ready? Rylan grinned. Always. The first volley lit up the nebula, and the fight began. The bigger? Question as the Orion's Edge dove and rolled through enemy fire. Kara's thoughts were racing. This wasn't just about 2 packages. If there were more scattered across the galaxy, then someone was playing a much larger game, one that might decide the future of every human in the colonies. And if the Shadow Fleet was moving now, it meant time was running out. Somewhere, far beyond the nebula, the last hidden human base was still waiting. And Kara had a feeling she wouldn't be able to avoid it much longer. The Orion's Edge spun into another sharp turn. Engines screaming, weapons blazing. This wasn't just another fight. This was the start of something bigger.